Welcome to the bold analysis. Straight, I want us to look at this post from Poli Njoroge. She's making some very interesting statement that I want us to look at because you may want to really wonder, you may want to really know what exactly is happening behind the scene. This is what Poli Njoroge is saying. Towards the end of the year, the minister handed his resignation. He's frustrated at the direction things have taken, and he does not want to be the one to take the blame when shit hits the fan. Most decisions, especially on taxes, are made without his input, and he's just called upon to implement. So many things have gone wrong, and he's helplessly watching as the administration makes very costly mistakes that will sink the country into a big financial mess. He's also of the opinion that by executing most of their finance-related policies, the administration is going against the spirit of the campaign policies, and this will not end well. Anyway, his resignation was not accepted. He was told to be patient and wait for the reshuffle. Then at that point, he might be released. Ladies and gentlemen, who is that minister? Poli Njoroge doesn't do speculative posts. And she could be speaking from the point of knowledge. What do you see? What do you see? The man whose signature must be seen, or the man implementing tax policies in the William Ruto administration, you do not need magical science. It is this gentleman, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, who is the Treasury CS. According to what Poli is saying there, she's saying that the CS has allegedly sent or surrendered his resignation. Now, the trend of cabinet members not being consulted, not knowing about these taxation policies is not new. During the day there was that State of the Nation address, journalists were interviewing the Attorney General, that is Justin Muturi. And Justin Muturi, to the surprise of many, said that he was not aware, or rather, he also just heard of the marriage fees hike in the media, and such a policy was not in his desk. So,
Perhaps being the chief legal advisor of government, a lot of Kenyans today have been all over complaining about now, a marriage certificate being much expensive than dowry itself in terms of the new charges. What will you take on that as the country's legal chief advisor?
That's not my line, but I can say that when I saw those changes last night actually, I was also surprised at the rates at which they were being increased. But I think a lot of consultation is happening. So I just want to tell Kenyans what they have said through social media, through various other medium, has been heard. And without having to say much, let them have faith.
Thank you.
It is being heard.
Thank you.
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of the evening.
If you remember that clip, he said that he didn't know. He also heard about it in the social media. Well, that really fell within his docket. So it is not something new. It is not something that you can say, it's not something that shock people. So that's why when I read that post, I was like, wow, a problem. It's been going on. You could see. Now, Njuguna Ndung'u, the Treasury Cabinet Secretary, had worked even with the former president and left, and I think he was out at the helm of the CBK at some point, and joined William Ruto's team the very last minute. And there is a reason why I'm coming from this point. This is the time that Njuguna Ndung'u joined President Ruto. And remember, this is not someone who was a politician. I want you to get it. He was from the academia and the banking sector. So you may want to ask, when William Ruto was coming up with the list of those to be appointed as cabinet members, what do you think was the rationale of picking Njuguna Ndung'u? It was not about friendship. It was about a deal. And I am persuaded, and I think we analyzed that amongst William Ruto's cabinet members, some fellows who got those positions because of some high-level relationship with the president involves people like him. Could have given some funding, supported behind the scene, because there's some of the fellows that had been pulled out and been pushed out of Uhuru Kenyatta's space when he was under during Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure. So when he came into cabinet, what I mean is, if you see Duale, that's from the political axis, from the party axis. Duale, look at someone like Mombasa, the Cliff Women Rep, Aisha Jumwa. You can also look at Machogu, that's a political axis. You can also look at Alice Wahome, look at Kipchumba Murkomen. There are some, but then if you use that angle and try to see how Njuguna Ndung'u came through, he came through the political axis. Now, what that script is saying is very consistent with some few political developments, some few developments around Treasury CS Njuguna Ndung'u. Do you know that in 2023, Njuguna Ndung'u faced 2 impeachment threats? And the one is the one we're seeing here. What you're seeing here, this was in November, when MPs, both, Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja, were asking him the tough question. They were saying that they will initiate an impeachment motion against him if he will not be able to manage the free fall of the Kenyan shilling. That started then. Now, while this was going on, the Treasury CS was also in some squabble with the CBK, its CBK counterpart, Kamau Thuge, on who exactly is to blame for the depreciating Kenyan shilling. There were 2 schools of thought between Treasury and CBK, who is getting it right or wrong about the depreciating Kenyan shilling. So that was the first. That was the first instance. Number 2, despite of explaining to MPs, and the MPs, both from Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja, Kenya Kwanza have been defending William Ruto on many fronts. Now, despite the fact that a host of Kenya Kwanza MPs who are close to the president knew very well the reason why bursary funds had not been disbursed, Kenya Kwanza and Azimio were united recently in fronting an impeachment motion against Njuguna Ndung'u. And I want to be very objective here. It is very true, or whether it is true or false, but the government side have a one position that if the Treasury had not released CDF funds because of cash crunch, as he explained to the MPs, then what did you expect? What you would have then expected is Kenya Kwanza MPs not supporting what Azimio la Umoja are saying, and then defending the CS. Now, the CS believes that probably the parliamentary axis, which is also close to the executive, did not shield him, while he became the punching bag into a situation that is not exclusively solely his problem. Now, I think this is why you might want to know maybe where this is coming from. When policies are done, when policies are made, you're not involved. But then when rubber meets the road, you are the one to be responsible. You see? Even the capitation, the high school capitation, and the allocation to counties, the disbursement to counties, there have been inconsistencies in terms of some dealings. Now, while you may want to explain on what is actually happening, cash crunch or something, the way you want to explain, but who will the governors blame? They will not blame the president. They will blame the treasury. They will blame the treasury. So he's probably seeing that things are not good. And by the way, let me tell you, 2024 is the toughest year for Kenyans. I will tell you, I will do that video tomorrow. When you read the intelligence report from IMF, you will understand why someone might even feel like moving out. We are going to pay the 2 billion euro bond. The 2 billion euro bond. We need a lot of money. And in Kenyan shillings, it is 327 billion. That 2 billion euro bond in Kenyan shillings is 323 billion. That is interest and principal. Involving interest and principal. So what does it mean? We are supposed to get some few loans and things are still not adding up. So if, by the time we'll be paying it in June, we are going to have it tough. Now, so those are two impeachments you may want to understand. Now, had they got wind of him getting frustration and wanted to leave, and that's why such impeachment was coming, I understand very well William Ruto would rather prefer that a CS is sacked than resigns. He would rather prefer that a CS is sacked than he resigned. I don't know whether this is also very consequential. 6 days ago, there was some National Investment Council meeting in Nakuru. And yes, I know the Treasury is not a member of that council. But I saw cabinet secretaries that accompanied the president who are not members, Edwin Owalo and Muturi. And Muturi, the Mithika Linturi, not Muturi, Mithika Linturi, the agriculture CS. Now, the Treasury CS was missing. You may want to know. According to what Poli Njoroge is saying is that that request was rejected. Now, as that continues, you also remember that in February, the president has called an urgent cabinet retreat, saying that things are bad, and is going to convene the cabinet for a retreat. I think it's normally that annual retreat. Last time it was done in Nanyuki. Let's wait. If they're going back to Nanyuki, they might also choose to empower another town. That annual retreat that takes almost 1 week, it's going to be there. And there's some consistencies between what Poli Njoroge is saying and some of these things that then are happening. But I want to tell you something. If there is something that William Ruto cannot condone, and he will try his best to avoid, is Njuguna Ndung'u leaving the cabinet. For these 2 or 3 reasons. Number one, the Mount Kenya equation. When he leaves cabinet, remember he's from Mount Kenya. In Mount Kenya, there is already an existing problem. Because if he leaves, if he's sacked, yes, that works better because he will be sacrificed and said maybe it was incompetent and all that, blah, blah, blah. That will be said. But again, it will be that President Ruto has sacked a Kikuyu. And the President Ruto has sacked a Kikuyu is more dangerous and more appealing to the public than President Ruto has sacked an incompetent CS. No one will see an incompetent CS. No one will see all these things. No one will see any other reason. People see a Kikuyu has been chased out of government. So that is also one thing. That's one danger. Number two is he do not want to get a cabinet secretary in such a sensitive docket walking out of government now at the time opposition is strategizing against government. I want you to imagine the amount of, the level of spillover. Yes, might feed the opposition, might leak a lot of secrets to the opposition, and you will not want at this moment, when you say I want to leave, you will try to do everything to ensure that you don't leave, because it has bit of some damages, leakages on the other end. Now, that is, apart from those two reasons why I would also not want to leave, is that will start exodus. That will be the exodus. That will be the genesis of exodus. That will be the start. That will be the beginning of people leaving. Then you'll be like, oh, maybe kama siwezi, they will just leave. But you know, there was a PS who left. Some PS left at one point. I think that was in February. Now, I just want to go swiftly on some of the emerging challenges that the Treasury might face with the executive. Number one, I think Ruto's layers of consultation are too many and they are not harmonized. This is not a point I've picked from the moon. This is what allegedly Poli is saying there, that taxation, and not even her, even Ejimuturi said that I didn't know about it. I think Ruto has a clique of advisors, the layers of advisors, another super layer that is consulted on something, and whatever they say, it doesn't matter whether the minister believes it or not, or the minister says it is right or not. That the opinion of the minister doesn't matter if such like thing has come from that super layer of advisors. That will be a big challenge. And you may want to know, there is National Investment Council. I know it's different. There is National Economic Council led by David D. There is economic advisor in the office of, is it of the president? Someone. You also have industrialization, part of the advisors. You also have the advisors in the Ministry of Trade and Investment. So that's what I'm saying. And then you have the Treasury. So who do you believe? And at some point, I think we also mentioned that we just needed to harmonize. We need to synchronize all these advisors so that someone doesn't say you come and you send that memo and the minister says, now, where is that from? Where is that from? People don't really understand. So there seems to be lack of synergy amongst the different layers of the president's advisors. Number two, the disharmony between Treasury and Parliament is causing some friction. There is a bit of that disharmony. And, it's driven by many things. People think it's a bit of failure to deliver. For sure, I know very well that Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah will not have a fallout with the Treasury CS because of bursary. Because he knows why bursary has not. He just places akonaambia wanatujatuma kwa sababu hii mambo iko hivi hivi. President will even explain. But if there is a deal gone wrong, you are supposed to give me this tender and I've not got it, or there was this pending bill that was supposed to be paid in company associated with that has not been done, that one can make someone initiate an impeachment. So there's been bit of that bickering. And I remember at some point when the MPs wanted an explanation just about this bursary, the minister was out of the country, somewhere in Dubai with the president. But the MPs insisted he has to come and make that presentation. You know, I normally wonder, and someone was asking now, why are we bothering the ministers while the president is the person hands-on doing everything? He's on top of the car explaining every policy from every ministry. Whatever he's doing, he's the image, he's the sole brand ambassador of the government. He's actually the brand ambassador, both local and international. So what is the role of other ministers? There is something that is going on. Number three, there could be some internal bickering within these ministries. It points out something. There could be some internal bickering. And what brings internal bickering, to me, is that zebra ticket that Ruto fancied. In every ministry, one or two, there is some zebra arrangement where, and this zebra is, if a CS comes from Kikuyu, a PS will come from Kalenjin. If the CS is a Kalenjin, the PS will come from Kikuyu. Either way, you will get, if the two people are not his friends, then either CS or PS, one person is his closest person. If you look at Treasury, this is where EPRA is. There's also Chris Kipto. PS there. Even in Treasury, there is a, even though there are so many other PSs, but in Treasury, there is also a separate ticket. So there could be some internal bickering. And by the way, this can make people leave work. You know, it might not be related to all these economic policies. Because I don't buy the economic policies bit of a point of someone leaving, because someone like Treasury CS might not be interested in a political seat. He's not a politician. Whether Ruto fails or not, it's not his problem. Someone like David, there's someone like David. You know, David, whether Ruto fails or gets second term or not, it's not his problem. He's not interested in an elective seat. If Raila takes or whoever takes over next, he will then just find a way of getting back there and start asking. Just save people a bit of fanciness. Number four, I think lastly, this could be a possibility, there could be a possibility of a looming scandal and people just trying to save face, say, I don't want to be part of this because so many things maybe are not working into place. Thank you.